Okay, well, I'm going to channel our chair, Jonathan Rosenblum. So, good evening. It is May 17th. It's the Environmental Review Board meeting. Present is David Horowitz, Ivan Alter, Ted Holmes. Jonathan is not here, so we are, I guess, going to proceed with the meeting. We have, I guess, the minutes from the previous meeting of April 19th. Are there any comments or corrections to the meetings, notes that anybody has?
Nope.
No, none for me.
So without trying to usurp Jonathan, is there a way we can just hold off approving the minutes until he gets back in case he had any comments?
Honestly, I know for planning board purposes, there are times where multiple meeting minutes are approved at a single meeting, so that would seem consistent if you wanted to do that here as well.
Okay, so can we say that there's no comments as of now, and we're going to reserve a chance for Jonathan to make any final comments before they're formally approved?
That seems reasonable to me.
All right. So I guess that will take care of the minutes for now. Dennis, you want to walk us through the applicant and who they are and what it is that is being presented tonight?
Sure. Address is 15 Pinoak Lane. Pinoak Lane obviously has a fair number of wetlands in the backyards of both sides of the residence. So just about any project they would propose would probably require a wetlands permit. So for this one in particular, it just drove up to the level of an ERB review because there is an existing deck in the back, and there's going to be an expansion. And per the code, if it's greater than 25% in terms of the existing versus the proposed, which it is, then it would rise to the level of needing ERB review and approval. And so, in essence, the existing deck is going to be, which sort of has a, I'm not sure how to describe it other than sort of an angular cut to it as it extends to the house and leaves kind of like a gap in between where the deck ends, and there's an existing, I guess, labeled as an office den enclosed porch. They just want to sort of make that the perfect geometric shape and just, turn that into a rectangle that would connect to that existing space. And they've submitted plans and a mitigation plan as well for the impacts of the new surface to be covered with the new deck. So the applicant's architect, Mr. Grant, thank you for sharing your screen. And the applicant, I believe Mr. Rothenberg, correct? And so from here, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Grant, and the presentation will probably be a lot clearer than mine.
Thank you, Dennis. Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew Grant with Grant Off Architects. I'm here on behalf of Ken, who's also on the call with us too, Mr. Rothenberg. Basically what Dennis said is what we're trying to achieve. Right now, if you can see my cursor, there's an existing deck here with an entrance to it here, access stairs and access here, along with an existing sunroom, which is in disrepair, and we're proposing to replace it and removing the stairs on the left-hand side here. And we are also, during this process, we're going to be removing the existing deck as well in order to make it a little bit more in line with the existing den that's going to be here. Right now, the disconnect from the sunroom to the deck obviously is here, and we want to just square things off and make it a little bit more functional for our client, for Mr. Rothenberg and his wife and family. As a result, the net increase is approximately 300 square feet of deck. The existing footprint of the sun porch now is going to be den/gym is going to remain the same, so there'll be no increase in roof runoff at that location. And as increase to the coverage, deck coverage, we're proposing the same amount, so approximately 300 square feet of mitigation planting along this the pond here to act as a buffer and screening. Plant list here, so small shrubs, low plants, and grasses as well. Just a little context of the site. This is, the pond. This is the area that we're proposing. There's a little vegetable garden here now. So the area that we're proposing for mitigation would be right here. And then I can walk you around to the other photographs if I can just pull this down. Hold on, let me just zoom out a second. And then this is along the driveway pulling in. So there's pretty heavy mitigation and plantings there now. This is turning the corner. So B is looking right here as you approach the pond. This little channel that goes to another, I believe it looks like an overflow area. And then here's where we're proposing that mitigation area. Square footage as the proposed increase in deck.
So what is there now? Like deer fencing? What? And
it looks like there is some low fencing there now. It looks like a deer.
Like a goose fence, yeah.
Exactly. So we'll be screening that. Well, approximately 300 square feet of it. And then I can get into the plans so you get a sense of the architecture here. What we're proposing to do is that, this is getting rebuilt. Floor is getting raised to accommodate an actual office, 4-season room. Right now it's a screened porch and disrepair. The existing footprint of the deck, as you can see, is here. Stairs going down here, and the proposed square things off to make it a bit more functional and have it connect to this office. And that is pretty much it. Underneath the deck, we're going to have a gravel, weed barrier and gravel. There'll also be lattice work. Everything will be dug by hand, sonotubes. No foundation footings, just the Bigfoot type sonotubes.
Does the existing house have a basement in that area?
It does have a basement.
And the new deck is a wood or a man-made material, and the water will just go through it to below?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Dennis, are you okay with the planting material and quantities versus requirements?
Yes, just from inspecting the site, my only question was that you did have sort of an existing bed area. So are you going to work in that or expand that? That was one question that I had.
Right, we'll work within that. Obviously, this was kind of just a quick designation that we're going to try to move forward, try to make sure that whatever we capture in terms of deck increases, we're going to capture here. And obviously replace what needs to be replaced in that area, and then blend everything in thoughtfully.
Okay.
So,
And
question for
then,
you. Good, Dennis. Sorry.
no, I was just, so I did see, which is fine. You're keeping your garden, right? That doesn't have to come out. I
Correct.
just wanted to, it seemed, okay.
Yeah, the garden's
Yeah.
like right over here. Just
Right.
just out of that frame.
What's at the pond edge now? Are there invasives there?
I don't believe there are invasives there. That would be something that we'd have to analyze, and we can obviously kind of prune back if needed or if requested.
I could maybe answer that just from today's inspection. So really, when you get to the, I think that's the southern end, right, of the property, sort of by the garden bed, there's definitely an overgrowth of mostly non-native. So I know that they were, obviously focusing on the pond edge that sort of really is more sort of adjacent to turf cover and, where they have an existing bed. But that's why I was just curious if the garden was going to stay and if there was just going to be any work in that area as well, because it's another opportunity. I mean, I'm okay with either or, but if, there was any, since you did put this together, if you wanted to consider an alternative whereby the applicant wants to still have maybe just a thinner bed and access to the water and a visual to it based on what's existing, there may be other opportunity sort of in that corner to get sort of the even more of a value add and not necessarily up to the applicant, impede what he may want or be currently used to, with respect to the bed and the view of the water.
Are you talking something more a little bit elongated as I've shown here, and then wrapping the corner a little bit around this garden, or eliminating the garden?
No, not eliminating the garden, not even extending as long as you've shown, but really, I would say outside of the garden towards the water where it just gets very overgrown with, all this regrowth from when it was probably previously disturbed, and time has, taken its toll in terms of the density and assemblage. And, I think there's potential opportunity there if you wanted to just consider it as an alternative, certainly not as a requirement.
Okay.
And that's fine with me, Matt.
Okay.
Because and again, Mr. Rothenberg and I didn't have an opportunity to speak, but, I would imagine potentially when you saw the property and you saw the water, I'm happy you're not mowing to the water's edge. I mean, I did see the shrubs and the plantings, and I thought that was great, but, that's why I wanted to at least do a courtesy visit and do an inspection. And I said, gee, if they wanted to consider an alternative that I think helps the pond, but not necessarily impede what you're already used to, which is definitely seems to be more of a central focal gathering point, that could, work for everybody, so to speak. It doesn't always work out that way, but I just happened to see it, so I figured I'd mention.
Okay.
Understood.
Other than that, Dennis, was there anything that gave you any pause about the application?
My only other question was, just in seeing the hot tub, is there a drainage element to that? We don't want
Right.
stuff,
There was that was brought up in the building department review, so a backflow preventer will be provided.
I'm sorry, repeat that. I believe you. I just didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
A backflow preventer will be provided for the hot tub.
Okay. And then, since that has like a year-round use, it's not, similar to a pool. You don't have to drain a certain amount and whatnot, winterize it until, just as long as, I'm just, again, I'm not, I don't have a hot tub. I'm just going off of other applications. If the water that needs to be potentially drained, is that going into an existing stormwater system? Is that going to the, I'm
It will-
just curious, if we want it discharged into the.
We don't want to discharge in air, and if at all, if it's going to get filled, it might be just pumped out as well. I'm not sure the exact process of that when it does come and get filled. I mean, it's so small, it'll probably run a hose to it. It's not like you're filling a swimming pool. But I think it does need to get, and correct me if I'm wrong, the product that we had selected needs to be drained 3 times a year.
Okay, I'd be interested so that it doesn't sort of end up on the lawn or in the pond, like where that drainage would go. That's my only other question.
Understood.
So, a quick question about the office and the roof there. I don't see gutters. So,
There will be gutters, and it'll be tied into the existing system.
got it.
Does the existing system go to like a dry well, or is it level spreaders? How does the water
That is a-
discharge?
Great question. I believe it goes into level spreaders. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Well, I can find that out for sure, for certain. Ken, do you know if your leaders go to like a splash box on the outside of your property, or does it go into an internal, Coltech system? Recharger.
I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. I don't know, to be honest.
I can confirm.
Sorry.
Not something you ever thought about before. Okay.
But ultimately, the roof is going to be the same as what's existing.
Correct. Gable's just changing. Instead of this long
No, but I
shed.
mean, just in terms of the volume of runoff from the roof. So whatever.
Right.
whatever's
There's
there
no
now.
increase. Exactly. It's a swap.
Yeah, and you're not changing the grade on the side where
No.
the main part of the house comes down adjacent.
That's correct. We're not.
Okay.
The thing we're doing is we're just raising the floor level, because right now it's about 12 inches disconnect from, this floor to that. So there'll be a little bit more lattice work.
Got it. I don't have anything else.
So do we want to vote to approve? Do you want to wait for Jonathan? I mean, I'm sure they're probably eager to get started.
I don't know. Can we do this?
Yeah, I know. We've never done this without Jonathan.
So Dennis, without the chairs, do we have the authority to do that, or do we need to call him and ask? Is okay?
The planning board has counsel present at their meetings. I'm sorry that the ERB meetings do not, and I don't know the official answer to that question. I guess you probably needed to designate an acting chair to start the meeting, and I'm spouting though. Honestly, I do not know. But I mean,
So how about
in
this?
all honesty,
How about this?
Go ahead.
Can we say if there's any objections or not, and then we'll speak to Jonathan in the next day or two and get back to them and apologize that it'll take a few more days, but it just so we don't do something that isn't correct.
Sure, that seems reasonable. And I was going to say, in the meantime, if the applicant, could work on or just get back to me on those 2 items. One, if you are, considering moving the mitigation area, so to speak, if you could, if that can work. And I think when you see the property, Mr. Grant, you'll know what I'm talking about. And B, just to get clarification on the draining of the hot tub. That's basically it. What's going to happen to that water?
So by the time that paperwork gets returned to you in the next couple of days, we'll have Jonathan's comment and everybody can move on.
Okay. I mean, I did leave a copy of all this in his mailbox. So.
So do we say a motion to approve pending final review by the chair?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Aye. So,
All in favor? Any opposed?
You're anonymous.
Ken, give us a few days and I guess you'll get your formal answer, but looks like there's no objections.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And Matt, thanks very much for your time. And Ivan, nice to see you. And Ted, nice to meet you.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
Dennis, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Ken, we'll follow up tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Anything else on the agenda, Dennis?
No, that was, you have one for next month that came a couple of days ago, but that's about it.
We like to do these one at a time.
It seems to work out best, I guess.
All right, great.
See, we'll tell Jonathan, this is how you run a meeting.
So a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Stay well, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.